Abdullahi, just share with people about your background and why you are Muslim, or what kind of Islamic understanding you have, why you differ from general public, your commonality and differences, and why you are Muslim and what kind of Muslim you are. A little bit about personal experience.
Okay. Shall I look at the camera or at the look at him? Okay. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed An Naim. I am from northern Sudan. I was born in a village north of Khartoum on the Nile in 1946. I studied in Sudan until I graduated from University of Khartoum, went to Britain for graduate studies, came back to teach in Sudan, and then left Sudan in the mid-80s. The reason I left Sudan is very much to do with my understanding of Islam and how it came to change when I was a student at law school in Sudan, and I encountered a Muslim reformer, Ustaz Mahmoud Muhammad Taha. So I would think that I grew up as a Muslim by convention, by the fact that I was raised as a Muslim. But I became a Muslim through my encounter with Taha and the way that his ideas have helped me reconcile tensions about what it means to be Muslim within myself. And ever since, that was 1968, and ever since I have been part of his movement, I have studied his work, I have tried to advance his work globally since I left Sudan in the mid-80s.
You wrote, one of the books you have written is Towards Islamic Reform. And some people misunderstand it as a reform in Islam, which is a little bit different, Islamic reform, the implication of it. And you're involved with the Critical Thinkers for Islamic Reform conference. Just tell us about that book and involvement in that conference, and what do you mean by Islamic reform?
Part of the work I have been doing in advancing the work of my teacher, Ustaz Mahmoud Muhammad Taha, is that I applied his methodology of Islamic reform in a work to do with my field of study, which is human rights, constitutional law. So I came out with an idea of a book that was published in 1990 called Toward an Islamic Reformation: Civil Liberties, Human Rights, and International Law. And the point about that is that it is not Islam that is reformed, it is our understanding of Islam that is reformed. Because Islam is beyond even ultimate human comprehension and understanding. But it is also a means for human beings to advance in their understanding and practice of Islam. So in following the example of the Prophet ﷺ, it is about transition and transformation. It is about changing ourselves and our environment around us, our societies, our communities. So the book was an effort to apply Ustaz Mahmoud's teachings in a concrete way in relation to constitutional law, human rights, international law, questions of rights of women, freedom of religion, and so on. And by the way, of course, I think that the term Sharia is often misunderstood to signify the totality of Islam, which is not true. Sharia is only a human understanding of Islam at any point in time. It can never exhaust what Islam is or what it can mean. And the term Sharia itself is a late term. It does not appear in the Quran in the same meaning that we use it now. And it was totally unknown even among Muslim scholars for the first 3 centuries of Islam. The first time that it came to be used, even among the mutakallimun, that is the theologians, was in the 4th century and 3rd century of Islam. So if you said Sharia to the first, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th generation of Muslims, they wouldn't understand what you mean. So to be a Muslim is not to adhere to Sharia. To be a Muslim is to adhere to Islam. And whatever understanding of Islam you have, whether you call it Sharia or not, is your understanding. It is my human understanding. It is never more than that. So it is from that perspective to say that, yes, I am a Muslim, but what that means is my responsibility. I am the one who decides what it means to be a Muslim because I am the one who is accountable for my understanding of what it is to be a Muslim. From that, my work is very much to do with ensuring the environment, the context, the space where Muslims can be Muslims by conviction and choice, not by coercion or by social pressure or peer pressure. There is no value to an Islam that is hypocritical or that is intimidated into compliance and conformity. The only Islam that counts is an Islam that someone takes responsibility for. My own understanding for which I am accountable. I am not accountable for anybody else's understanding. I am never able to escape my responsibility of my understanding and practice.
You are writing a book on American Muslims, perhaps about their history and their current groups and interaction with American Christians and other groups, and what they have done and what they should have done or what they should do in the future. Can you please share with us about your observation about American Muslims, so whether they have done great or what they could do better?
Part of the work I do, just as I was saying now, about ensuring the space for people to be Muslim by choice and conviction. I make an argument in a book that was published in 2008. The book is called Islam and the Secular State, Negotiating the Future of Sharia. And my argument is that I need the state to be secular so I can be the Muslim I choose to be by religious conviction. Meaning that I need the state to be neutral about religion. There is no such thing as an Islamic state. Never has been, never can be. That is conceptually, the idea of an Islamic state is false. The idea of enforcing Sharia by the state is false. Because Sharia is the religious obligation of the Muslim. It cannot be coercively enforced by the state. And if the state tries to do that, it's going to corrupt Sharia rather than enforce it and advance it. From that perspective, I approach the work of what it is to be Muslim today, anywhere. So the work I'm doing about American Muslims is not different from the work I would do about Muslims in the so-called majority situations. So whether Muslims are 100% of the population, or less than 1% or 2%, which is probably the case for American Muslims, for me the position is the same. That the state is a secular institution, must be neutral regarding religion. It neither advances nor inhibits the ability of people to be religious or not to be religious. Sharia cannot be state law. State law is always secular. These are the principles that I would advocate for Iran, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, or United States. The same rule, the same principles. Now, as an American Muslim at this point, yes, I am from Sudan, I am still Sudanese citizen, but I'm also an American citizen. And my children are here, my grandchildren are here, my wife and our children are here, and we are American Muslims. But we do not see being American as relevant to our being Muslims. Being Muslim is our business. We choose to be Muslims by our conviction and choice. It has nothing to do with our citizenship. It neither diminishes or limits nor enhances. And fortunately, the nature of the constitutional and legal and cultural environment in the United States is precisely that. So I say that I can be a Muslim by conviction and choice more in the United States than I can be in Muslim majority countries. But that is not a given. That is something that people struggle for and people that strive to keep going. So it is the idea of the First Amendment of balancing freedom of religion from freedom from religion, which is really the advantage of this United States regime. that is the product of human struggle and constant striving to keep it going. So my question now is, what is my role as an American Muslim in enhancing, promoting, contributing to the qualities of the freedom of religion and general civil rights that Americans enjoy without compromising or giving up on my identity as a Muslim? So the title I use for the book, I call it Beyond Minority Politics, American Muslims and Citizenship. And my point is that I am not a minority. I am just an American who happens to be a Muslim. But I could be a member of majorities, politically, socio-economically, culturally, and I could be a member of minority in other ways. Every American, every citizen of the United States, the so-called WASP or the so-called Latinos, they are members of majorities in some respects, of minorities in other respects. So my emphasis is on the agency of the citizen who is not marginalized into a minority and refuse to be marginalized into minority. So I come into the mainstream, I participate, my political convictions, my social choices, my personal lifestyle, all of this is my business so long as I respect the rule of law of the land, so long as I respect the rights of others. Nobody can limit my ability to be who I choose to be. So those are the terms. So from that perspective, I look at the spectrum of American Muslims demographically, socioeconomically, politically. Who are they? What do they do? How they engage in the mainstream of American politics, American social and cultural life. But like all the work I do, I am an advocate. I do not present some so-called pure scholarship. I don't believe in pure scholarship. I think that scholarship is always connected to our convictions, our choices. And not to make a choice, so-called to be neutral, is a choice. It is a choice for the status quo. So if I pretend that I am not for this, not for the other, I'm just neutral, I'm in fact supporting what is going on. It is not neutral. So I would rather make my choice deliberately and purposefully and pursue it. My choice is to advance the nature of the secular state in the United States, to protect the state from religion, to protect religion from the state, to enhance civil rights and constitutional rights, human rights for everybody within the United States and globally. So my commitment to human rights, my commitment to American civil and political rights domestically, my commitment to social justice, all of that I approach as a Muslim. And I refuse to give up my identity as a Muslim to pursue these objectives, because they are the objectives of Islam too. And I am the one who is responsible for the way in which I'm a Muslim. And for that, I pursue my responsibility and take the action I need to take.
I will take an issue later, inshallah, if you talk after this one about Islamic State. I do agree with essence with you, but I think framing it, personally, I think there's some problem with that. I think after talking, we may come into an agreement regarding how to frame the word Islamic State. What does it mean? Can you please, since you are a lawyer and you are teaching law, a little bit inform the audience regarding the Constitution and the so-called founding fathers, because now there is a trend, especially among conservatives, that the conservatives, I say wrong-wing Christians, evangelical Christians, to depict the founding fathers or the beginning of this country as a Christian, as this is a Christian country. And please let us know whether the American is established as a Christian country or a little bit different than what they are saying.
It's rather curious that uh, people tend to project their own biases, their own bigotry, their own limitations and ambitions and privilege on social institutions and political institutions, thinking that they sort of, we are this and everything that is this is belongs to us, nobody else, and we are privileged to define what this means. And if anything, the United States is an idea. More than any other country in the world, this is a country that is defined by an idea, about an idea of Republican constitutional governance, an idea about federalism, an idea about citizenship. But it is not a religious community, and it cannot be a religious community as a country. That is the point. I think that the struggles that the so-called founding fathers had, and mothers I should add, I mean, where are the mothers in that founding? That itself indicates how bigoted and narrow-minded this view is when we keep talking about the founding fathers, as if mothers were not there, who gave birth to the fathers to begin with. But the point is that the idea of the United States had to evolve over time for it to survive at all. And when this idea ceases to evolve, it will cease to be. That is, nothing human is permanent.
Can you give example about Jefferson, Madison, and Benjamin Franklin, and these guys, were they wanted to have a Christian nation or not, about their experience?
Particular so-called founding fathers like Jefferson or Hamilton or others who engaged in that early generation did not have a vision of a Christian state. But to me, that is not the point, because even if they did, that is no longer sustainable. So it is not as if those guys said this, then this is the way it's going to be. Because as it happens, I am an American citizen. Today, I have a say in what it means to be American, and I refuse to accept the idea that the United States is a Christian country. And if you think of the actual history, and what did the Catholics face when they came to this country? Are Catholics not Christians? And as Catholics, what did they suffer and face? How did various minorities, Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics, and others, experience when they first came to this country? So the point, what you look at the Mormons, and who are they, and what it means to be Christian, there is no agreement on what it means to be Christian, as there is no agreement about what it is to be Muslim, and for that reason, the state must be kept out of this. Let us debate what our religions are and what they mean in our communities, and keep the state neutral, keep the state free, because it is very dangerous to allow the state to advance a particular religious view, because whatever that view is going to suppress and oppress some other believers who are citizens, but happen to believe in another religion or another variety of the same religion.
Excellent. Abdullahi, and I want to a little bit switch to a little bit another issue. As I understand, you believe in God, and can you tell us, since there are more audiences who are agnostics or who are atheists, and tell us what are the major reasons, whether you have any reasons besides feelings, why do you believe there is God, the creator of the universe, who is intelligent, who is benevolent?
For one thing, I do not care much about persuading those who do not believe in God that there is a God. I do not have that as, for myself, it's not a priority issue. I don't care if the whole world become Muslims or remain Christian. To me, it is irrelevant. The question is how people behave, how they treat other people. And from my knowledge of Islamic history or other histories, Muslims have not been superior humans because they are Muslims, and Christians have not been superior Christians because they are Christians, and so on. So the point for me is the human person. And for that, I take, for example, the hadith of the Prophet when he says, ad-din al-mu'amala. That is, religion is the way you treat people. That is where I need to be. I need to be in social relationships, in political context, in economic conditions where people are suffering injustice and deprivation of minimal requirements of decent human life. So the point, I think, is that to the extent that I can persuade other people to be Muslims or to be believers or not, it should come out of who I am and what I do more than what I say to persuade them to be.
Now the issue is, I don't ask whether persuade person. How do you persuade yourself? Whether you have, or you may not want to share your reason. You are obviously free for that. But whether you have something to share with others. If I ask you, my friend, I don't want you to force me, but I really wonder, I would like to be believing in God, but I don't have reason. If you provide me with a good reason, if there is God, why shouldn't I believe? I would like to, if there is God. Therefore, can you provide someone else who is asking you, and can you share it philosophically?
My priority is what sort of human being I am. I don't think about why I believe in God. It is not an issue for me at all. I don't even think about it. I don't care to articulate reasons for it. I don't need it to defend it to any other person or to persuade any other person. And by the way, that's the reason of my political conviction in the imperative of secular state. I don't want to defend what it is to be Muslim or to define why I believe in God. It is not a concern for me. For those to whom it is a concern, they are welcome to it. For me, it is not a concern. I don't ask the question. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I don't care to articulate it even. It is an irrelevant question for me.
It means, okay, I want to do this one. Then, what do you think about this idea of 19 in the Quran? Do you think it is irrelevant, or if some people think that this is, those people who question about whether this word, this book could be from God or not, it provides them with strong evidence, mathematical evidence. And what do you think? Do you think it is could be a basis for believing a book? Do you think it is harmful? Just
For me, it is irrelevant.
what is irrelevant? I want you to
Include. Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, you can paraphrase the question.
Okay. For example, there are some people who think about the significance of the number 19 and go into an mathematical analysis of the Quran, and to them that is very significant in terms of the divinity of the Quran and the authenticity. For me, all of this is irrelevant. I don't find it a useful exercise. I don't deny the right of people who find it a useful exercise to keep doing it. And maybe they can have other people who share that conviction by all means. To me, it is irrelevant. To me, the question would not be in terms of whether the letter 19 is or is not significant and how can I. If you think of mathematical proof, I am not a mathematical person. Mathematics is incoherent to me. So I cannot be persuaded by anything mathematical. And I'm not just that. My mind, my mindset, my sort of disposition is like that. So it is irrelevant. For those to whom it is relevant, by all means, they are welcome to it. And maybe some good will come out of it. For me, there is no point.
I will not ask you what is your favorite ice cream. We are done.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's fine. I think we did. Anybody add questions or anything you would like us to add? Fredun?
I think that was good. The portion you said about Sharia, I think, was very good. Really conveyed that, and I think that was probably one of the most important.
Okay.